Welcome to the latest episode of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app. On Apple, recommend Apple Podcasts, and on Android, we recommend Spotify. Also, check out Prize Picks. Use the code 5 FIVE. Put down your $5. You get $50 to play right away. Prize Picks, the official fantasy sponsor of the Five Reasons Sports Network. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Eurobasket on there. Use that code 5 FIVE. Put down your 5. Get your 50. And again, it is legal in the state of Florida. They got flex plays, they got power plays, they got all kinds of stuff on there. Use that code FIVE, play your 5, get your 50. Pretty damn good deal. And now, today's overseas episode.
Mercy, luxurious, Heat Nation, yeah. Mercy and Lago, down to Biscayne. Yikes. 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs. Down to Biscayne. Kept the floor playing, got it all banned. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, Inspire have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to Five on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the Five Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
All right, welcome back to Five on the Floor. Here's today's floor plan. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at Five Reasons Sports. I got Bryan Fonseca. You can follow him at Bryan Fonseca NY. And we are going overseas. We're going to take a look at Eurobasket 2025. Of course, Erik Spoelstra, the coach of the Miami Heat, was over in Europe this week, taking a look at a couple of his players, Pelle Larsson and Nikola Jovic. We will talk about Heat players specifically, but we're also going to introduce you to the tournament because I don't think a lot of people really understood it. I think, and I gathered this on Off the Floor, Bryan, some thought that like they'd already started. They haven't started yet. These were qualifiers or warm-up games, most of them warm-up games. Also, just to be clear, there's another tournament that's going on, or going to be AmeriCup, which does not which features the United States, but does not feature any of these teams. And that's the one Norm Powell is playing in because he's playing for Jamaica, and he's their best player. So actually, the Heat have 3 players playing in Eurobasket: Fontecchio for Italy, Nikola Jovic, who's starting for Serbia now. We will discuss him quite a bit. And also Pelle Larsson for Sweden. But Bryan, can you please explain, give a primer to what exactly this is for people who don't understand it?
Okay, couple things. One, everything was a warm-up. Like all they've been doing is playing friendlies and exhibitions, essentially. The teams that are competing in Eurobasket, because they've already qualified, they've been qualified since February. That's pretty much when the qualifying windows ended for each of the tournaments. Last year was the Olympics. This year is all the Continental Cups. So this year is Eurobasket. It's also the AmeriCup, which is going on right now as we're talking. It's also Asia Cup. The Asia Cup was just won recently by Australia last week. China came in second, and Iran, I believe, came in third. And then Afrobasket, which finished today, which is Africa. Angola, who was the host, beat up on Mali in the finals. Mali got their first silver medal, and then bronze went to Senegal. So now the AmeriCup is going to be done basically a week from when we're recording this. It's going to be Sunday, and then Eurobasket is going to be going on until September 14th. Eurobasket is the top 24 teams in Europe. The AmeriCup is the top 12 teams from the Americas. Afrobasket and the Asia Cup, I believe, are the top 16 teams from their respective regions. Asia Cup, I know, is 16. Afrobasket, I think is also 16, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it's around there. But regardless, Eurobasket is the biggest one out of all of these, and this year specifically feels bigger because a lot of the main guys are playing, and the more of the quote-unquote main players that play, that is what will lead to people caring. For example, in the AmeriCup, Team USA, as you mentioned, Langston Galloway might be the face of the team. You know what I mean? Like it's G League guys. It's a good, talented G League squad who had their hands full with the Bahamian national team in the first game and went to overtime. Canada doesn't have their best guys. Trey Bell-Haynes is like the only guy who was on their bronze medal winning team from the World Cup in 2023 that's on the roster right now, although they have like Leonard Miller, for example, who plays with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jose Alvarado might be the best player in the tournament. He's on the Puerto Rican national team. And then Dominican Republic has some guys, David Jones, who got into a fight today with some guys from Argentina after the game in the Dominican Republic. He's with the Spurs. But in Eurobasket, you have like Jokic is playing, Giannis is playing, and Luka Doncic is playing. And then obviously you mentioned the Heat guys, Jovic, Simone Fontecchio, Pelle, Larsson. So this is the tournament as far as Europe goes, and this is big because next year there won't be any of these things. It's just going to be like World Cup qualifiers next summer, so there'll be even less to talk about if you feel like there's nothing to talk about right now. And before you know it, we'll be in the World Cup 2 years from now. And just to clear one more thing up, what Norman Powell was playing in for Jamaica was pre-World Cup qualifiers. So Jamaica, because they didn't qualify for the AmeriCup this year, had to qualify for the right to qualify for the World Cup, as did Mexico. So basically 4 teams from the Americas had to join the other teams who have already qualified for, the chance to compete in the World Cup. The Americas send 7 teams into the World Cup every time there's a World Cup, and 12 teams qualified because 12 teams made the AmeriCup. To determine the last 4, they had this little tournament, so to speak. Jamaica is one of the teams that advanced. So Jamaica, Norman Powell helped get Jamaica into qualifiers. So they have a chance to compete in the World Cup. It's just, unfortunately, a lot of the qualifying windows happen during the NBA season. November, February, June, August, November, February. Those are the 6 windows starting this year. So if Norman Powell decides to continue to play for Jamaica, he's only going to be able to play in 4 out of what could be 12 games at most if he's still in the NBA. So this is why having depth for each country is important. I rambled a lot there, but I hope that was useful for some people.
No, it was, and it explains why Norm decided to play with a bad stomach and felt the need to play, and he scored 34 points because he's like, I came too far. And we had Mark Jones on who talked to him about it. It's like, we came too far in this for me to just duck out of this. He scored 34 in that last game, and people were comparing him to Jordan. So obviously that was a good outcome, and it was worth Norm's time to do it. But like you said, he may not be able to follow through here. All right. On the other side of this, we will talk about the Heat guys specifically, but just real quick here, and I know one of the Heat guys plays into this. You mentioned Doncic is there. Jokic is there, and also Giannis is there, right? We are talking about 3 of the top 5 players in the NBA, consensus-wise, right? I mean, 3. I mean, a top 10 at most. I mean, depending on what you think.
Maybe the top 3.
Maybe the top 3.
Shea is up there too, obviously, but
right.
Honest, you could make the argument they're at least 3 of the top 4 or 5, but they could be the top 3.
Right, because as we've said, the as much as a U.S. versus the world All-Star game, which would likely favor the U.S. just because of the depth of their roster, the top of the world players right now are better or closer to their prime than the best U.S. players, because the best U.S. players, as we saw when the U.S. won in the Olympics, ended up being LeBron, Durant, and Curry, as it's been for pretty much the last decade. And all of those guys are in their late 30s or are 40. So, right, there's not like a young American coming to save us, although Cooper Flagg, obviously, as mentioned, is possibly down the road. Shea is not American either. He's Canadian. So we're talking about the top guys. And some of the top Americans, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum are nursing torn Achilles right now. That seems to be happening mostly to the American players for whatever reason. But let's just be clear on this. There are 24 teams. Let's focus on Eurobasket specifically, because I think that's what most people are interested in at this moment. It's where the Heat have this participation. Yeah. There are 24 teams, and the favorite is the team that Jovic is on, right? Like Serbia, I've looked at all the books in Vegas, and Serbia is favored in this tournament still, correct?
By a lot. It's not even close either. Like they're damn near even money, which contextually, this is basically what Australia was before the Asia Cup, and they ended up winning the tournament. Barely, but they ended up winning the tournament. So Serbia is the favorite going away.
Right. They have an experienced coach who obviously Spo is a big fan of. Also, I don't know if people saw it, but Jovic's agent posted a photo today, or maybe it was yesterday, of Jovic having him and Jovic having dinner with Spo and Adam Simon, who've made the trip out there, and crediting Spo for coming over there. So again, the Heat are heavily invested in this. Spo talked at Summer League when he was there about how he was happy that Jovic is playing for a very demanding coach. He has a lot of respect for this particular coach, and Serbia is favored. Now, the difference with Jovic this time as opposed to last, and we'll cover more of this on the other side, but is that he's playing a lot. When the Olympics, he didn't, and it wasn't necessarily because it wasn't in the plans for him to. It's because he got hurt before he went overseas, and he never really got back into the rotation. He has started for this team before, but never played these kind of minutes, and never played these kind of minutes with Jokic. And obviously, that's a much different experience here. And the confidence he's gaining is what we're going to talk about on the other side. But I also want to get into the Swedish team and the Italian team because I'm curious your thoughts on how long those two teams will stick around. Both of them have Heat players who are leading them in scoring right now, by the way. But we'll see how long these two teams are going to be playing. Before we get to that, though, we'll be covering this. We're going to be starting up a new channel on Off the Floor specifically for Eurobasket. So everybody who wants to talk about all of these games, you can go on there. That's one of the things you can do. I mean, that's one of the great things about Off the Floor is that we can customize it anytime. It's not like Twitter, and we take the best stuff from Twitter and we put it there. This is a place for the most Heat information and conversation, but also NBA games, everything else that goes on. We talk about it there, transactions, etc., long form writing. It's all there. Again, go to the link in the description. You'll bypass the Apple upcharge. You can pay the $2.99 per month. And don't even think about it. You're not going to want to leave, but we'll let you leave. If you need to, you can cancel. But again, check out the link in the description, bypass the Apple upcharge, and sign up for Off the Floor today. All right. So as far as, let's start with Jovic, who I know you've been a big fan of for a very long time. The Heat have a decision to make about him. My understanding is they've not come to a decision about that, but it's a decision about a possible extension. Behind the scenes, they've been glowing about his offseason. And then Spo gave voice to it when he was out in Vegas. I think he may end up starting for the Heat. It's another topic we will get into, although I think Khalil Ware may start as a starter. I think there's also a possibility, and this was floated to me by someone inside too, that Jovic and Ware could start. I don't think that's what Spoelstra is going to do, but that's certainly a tool that he could go to if he wanted to. And I think Jovic is going to close a lot of games this year, even though I don't have him in the opening closing five that I think Spo will go with, which I think is most nights going to be Bam, Wiggins, Powell, Hero, and Davion. But I can see Jovic working his way into that mix, and I can see another guy we're going to talk about working his way into that mix. But let's start with Jovic here. What do you want to see? Because it seems like we're starting to see it. He was taking guys off the dribble. He was 4 of 7 on threes in the last game. Like, is this happening right now?
You want to see everything he's doing and more. People have talked about the size and him getting stronger. You can kind of see it. You see the confidence. I think the shooting's been there. Like, you see the sample size. We've laid it out in terms of the analytics, the shooting, the catch and shoot percentages. Like, his shooting is good enough. It's just getting everything else that we all see. It's well-rounded and all these different things, and putting it all together and doing it in a healthy season, like also playing 65 plus games, would be a welcome sight, I believe, this year. For this tournament, with Serbia as the favorite, you expect to see Jovic in it for a long time. I will remind people that 2 years ago in the World Cup, he was a big part of that team as well, and they got a silver medal. They faced Germany. Germany just ran through everybody. They went 8-0. They won a gold medal game. But Jovic has had experience in these high leverage situations. He was also playing on the Serbian under 19 team, for example. Like, as he was coming along, he was one of the guys who was playing in the system for a while. So he has a lot of familiarity with the system, with Coach Pesic from Serbia. And in this group, this is a favorable group for them. As a matter of fact, the way FIBA laid this out, they tend to do this. Like, as an example, real quick, in the AmeriCup, they had the best two teams playing each other in the last game of group play in multiple groups. They did it with Puerto Rico and Canada, and they did it in another group with USA and Brazil, as a matter of fact, is the other one. So they did it with Eurobasket a couple times here. If you look at Eurobasket in Group A, Turkey is probably the second most talented team in their group. Serbia doesn't play them until the very end of group play. That's going to be their 5th game. There's 24 teams in this tournament. It's groups of 6. So everyone is going to play a minimum of 5 games. This is how the Olympics format, by the way, used to be until they condensed it a little bit more and made it as to what it is now, which is basically everyone in 3 groups of 4. Before it used to be 2 groups of 6. I prefer groups of 6 because you get to see more games ultimately. And I'm surprised that they switched it up for the Olympics. But you're going to see 4 groups of 6, and you're going to see the top 4 teams of those 6 move on in each group. So from 24 after group play, you're going to knock off the bottom 2 teams from every group. You're going to be down to 16 teams. And from there, it's just a single elimination knockout tournament. And obviously, if you make it to the semifinals, you're going to have another game, be it for the gold medal or the bronze medal. So Serbia in their group is Turkey, Latvia, who is one of the hosts of this tournament. The hosts, I should mention, are Latvia, Finland, Cyprus, and Poland. Yes, Poland is the 4th one. So Latvia is going to be the host in this side of the bracket, or this group rather. It's going to be Serbia, Turkey, Latvia, Estonia, Portugal, and Chechnya. And to be honest with you, only Turkey and Latvia should really challenge Serbia in group play. Serbia is overwhelming. They have, other than, just Nikola Jokic and Nikola Jovic, but Bogdan Bogdanovic, for example, a team that just made it deep into the Olympics. They're coming off a silver in the World Cup and a bronze in the Olympics from last year. And honestly, I thought they were the second best team. They were better than France. They just, lost to Team USA 1 round sooner, and France was able to get to the gold medal game. But Serbia is really, really good, and they have a lot of guys who've been on the team 4 years outside of these 3, like Nikola Milutinov, for example, or Vasily Micic, who was just in the NBA, who is now going to be playing in EuroLeague. Like, this is a team that's played together for a while. Not every single tournament, because guys drop off, guys get hurt, but this is the best team in the tournament from top to bottom that Jovic is playing on.
Right, and the fact that he's a key factor in this means something. And you look at some of the skill set that the Heat are looking for him to continue to develop, which is the ball in his hands. We're seeing it. I wasn't sure that was going to happen because he's going to be playing with Jokic, and obviously we know what a playmaker Jokic is, but we saw them collaborating on some things, and I think there's a lot that Spo can take from it. My biggest thing, and then we're going to switch to Larsson here in a second. My biggest thing with Jovic is just what he shows his coach. And I'm not talking about the coach over there. I'm talking about the coach over here. I suppose going to put a lot of weight into this. I think this is.
I agree.
Developing toughness on the biggest stage. We know his passion for the game. I don't think there's been any question about that. Nico cares, but it's a question of putting it together and not getting frustrated by where he is in terms of role, pecking order, all of that kind of stuff. We've seen him handle that better, and then he got hurt. So first thing, stay healthy. Second thing, make the most of these opportunities and be on the floor at the end. And that's what Eric talked about. He said, I want him to be closing these games. I want him to force the coach to have him close these games. And we know that even when there are decided favorites in these tournaments, look, Goran Dragic led Slovenia, which had not a lot on the team at that time. They didn't have Luka, to a title in this, right? That was 8 years ago, I believe, 2017.
So Luka was on that team.
But, okay, that's right. But he was only like 17 years old.
Yeah,
right.
But he was also all tournament.
Right.
I'm trying to remember if Anthony Randolph was on that team, but Anthony Randolph, yes, that one played for Slovenia for a little bit. So did Zoran Dragic. But that's actually funny you mentioned that. Goran Dragic was the MVP of Eurobasket in 2017, and Slovenia won it, and it was the first time they won it. And I don't know, Goran Dragic didn't play much for Slovenia after that because then he was getting toward the end of it. And then the last Eurobasket tournament in 2022 was won by Spain. But I feel like that also catapulted Germany into what they became because Germany got a bronze medal and then they won the World Cup after. But the last time the medal stand was Spain, France, Germany, and Poland was actually 4th. And then beyond that was Slovenia, Serbia, Spain, and Russia, who was 4th. And they're banned from competing in this.
Right. Well, for a variety of reasons we don't need to get into. I mean, there's always gonna be that issue. But I guess my overall point was Slovenia was not favored the year that Dragic won. In fact, it's a tiny country and was not expected to get to that level, even though obviously Goran was a very established player and coming off the 30-11 second half of the season with the Heat that year. So he was still a very viable player, the whole 7-11 thing. But the point is, that Serbia may be favored, but it does not mean they're guaranteed. We've seen a lot of strange things happen in these tournaments, and so Jovic is going to be in some high leverage situations, and that's, I think, what Spoelstra wants to see. Let's pivot to the next guy, though, because I got a chance to see him up close in Summer League. It is very clear right now, especially after the trade of Highsmith, but I think they'd already decided this, that Pelle Larsson is going to be a big part of the Heat rotation this year. They've been very happy with everything that he's done. Spo talks about him. He lights up. He just is a Heat player. To me, the only question is whether he's playing 20 minutes or 30 minutes a night, but he's going to be playing a lot of minutes, and he could be closing some games. I don't think he works his way into the starting group at this point, but to me, he or Davion right now is going to be the first guard off the bench. I think that's the way that this is playing out, especially until Drew Smith is totally healthy. He's scoring for Sweden. What are their chances of? I mean, how many looks is he going to get in this thing? Does he have enough around him to be competitive here to possibly medal?
So I'm looking at the odds now. This is about what I expected. They're projected to be one of the worst teams in the tournament. Probably fourth or fifth to last, something along those lines. Now, here's the thing. Mali in Afrobasket, who's 90th in the world, who's 12th in Africa, got to the gold medal game and got a silver medal. So these upsets sort of happen. South Sudan was one of the favorites to win that tournament, and they lost their first game to Guinea and didn't even make it to the quarterfinals after their historic run in terms of getting to the Olympics, getting to the World Cup, first time ever. And then South Sudan, like just flat, just nothing in Afrobasket. So these things happen. With Sweden, you want them to be in top four. Pelle Larsson, though, at a minimum, as I was saying before, he'll get 5 games. You have 5 games in group play. If he's healthy, he gets 5 games. His group is it's not easy at all because you have Germany. Germany's one of the favorites. Germany's probably the second best team in this tournament.
But is Schroeder playing again? Because that seems to be the thing with them.
Yeah. So with Germany listed on the roster right now, Dennis Schroeder is there. It's a lot of the guys actually who have been with the team the last couple of years on their run. Isak Bonga, for example, Franz Wagner, Johannes Voigtman. They're adding Tristan da Silva as well. He's been playing for them. He's with the Orlando Magic, obviously, right now. Yep. Daniel Tice as well, former NBA player. So Germany's in the group. Germany's team you would think could win the group. Lithuania is probably the biggest test otherwise. Outside of that, Montenegro is pretty good from a European standpoint. I think they can get to the next phase, but I mean, I don't think they're absolutely unbeatable, but Montenegro is better than Sweden. And other than that, you have also Finland, who is hosting this group, and you have the United Kingdom, Great Britain, who is unequivocally one of the worst teams in this tournament. So, like, if Sweden loses to the UK, then or to Great Britain, like, yeah, that would be trouble. Sweden off the bat is going to play Finland. So, if you're Pelle Larsson, like immediately, you're getting a road game. You're getting Finland. You're getting Lauri Markkanen. And you're getting a situation where, you know, people are going to be booing you and all these different things. In Finland, you know, they're not one of the best teams in this tournament, but
he won't mind that. He
good.
likes that. Yeah, I mean, he plays with that kind of edge. I mean, he was going at it with the Celtics Summer League team at the game I covered. So that's the, you know, I mean, no, he doesn't care. I mean, that's one of the things I like about Larsson so much. I mean, the first time he ever got minutes with the Heat this year in any significant way, he's guarding DeMar DeRozan, who, I mean, whatever you think of DeMar, he's been a highly productive player for the past decade and a half. And Larsson after the game was saying, well, yeah, because he gets every call. I mean, that's the way that Larsson is. Like, he doesn't, I mean, there's respect, but he doesn't give too much of it, which I think is the kind of edge they're looking for.
It's also interesting because with the Montenegro matchup, Nikola Vucevic is their best player. They've had Kendrick Perry as their nationalized player for a couple competitions. Now it's former Heat summer leaguer Kyle Allman.
Yes.
who Pelle Larsson, who might be guarding Pelle Larsson in this group play tournament. But for Pelle Larsson, it's like, can you get Sweden? Because I think you could beat Great Britain. If you beat Finland off the bat, that's great, especially considering like you have Germany immediately after that, but you have Great Britain third. If you could beat Finland, that sets you up. And a lot of times, if you just win 2 games, you can be in pretty good shape depending on how the rest of the group shakes out. So it's just a matter of, okay, you have to beat Great Britain, and then if you can find one more game, you have a chance of Pelle Larsson playing some knockout stage basketball in this tournament.
All right, let's get to the last one here. Simone Fontecchio, Italy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been scoring for them. Seems to have his shooting form back, which he didn't have last year because he was picked up in the Duncan Robinson trade. What are their chances?
So Italy's actually one of the better teams in this tournament this year. They've been kind of, I think by their standards or relative to how they've been for a long time, kind of disappointing as of late. Like they had a chance to qualify for the Olympics last time. Puerto Rico beat them and pretty easily, I might add. Puerto Rico ended up winning that qualifying tournament, so Italy didn't get it to the Olympics. They've been to the Olympics in a little while, and I'm looking up now in Eurobasket, they haven't actually medaled since 2003, which was actually in Sweden. They got a bronze medal at that point. And before that, they were a team who, you know, they won Eurobasket in 1999. And in the 90s, they have multiple silver medals, for example, another bronze medal game before that. But as of late, like over the last 20 years or so, it hasn't quite been the same. But this Italian team, other than Simone Fontecchio, is pretty good. Like on paper, Danilo Gallinari, for example, is somebody who's on their roster who just won a championship in the BSN in Puerto Rico, which, you know, it's not nothing, given that the league has a lot of former NBA players. Norris Cole, for example, has been in that league for a couple years. Don't remember if he played this past year, but you know, he's played for championships in that league before. On his team was JaVale McGee, Chris Duarte for a good portion. Kenneth Farid's played in there. DeMarcus Cousins before that incident. You could Google it. Nicolo Melli, former NBA player, is also on the Italian team. So some of the same guys who were on the team last year in the Olympic qualifying tournament. Fontecchio is their best player, and right now actually is currently their only NBA player, like actively in the NBA right now, NBA player. So Danilo Gallinari is not an NBA player right now at this stage, but yeah, Italy, they have a good, like they should be able to get by their group. I'm not saying they're going to win the group because ultimately Spain and Greece are in it. Spain and Greece, Spain is just, we talked about their coach, as a matter of fact, and potentially being, you know,
with the Heat.
Yeah.
There was a rumor about that. Yeah, that never materialized in any significant way, right? That was
Basket News is credible, so like that didn't come from nowhere. But he ended up taking a job for Europe. Maybe the Heat were being used as leverage for another situation.
Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time. It's just funny. It's funny to me that you mentioned Gallinari here, and we'll close it up. But it's funny because Gallinari, to me, he's one of those guys, like he'll be on the Heat eventually. 48 years old, 52 years old. He was going to be on the Heat. He's one of those guys who was going to be on the Heat like 6 times. And if he had just agreed to the contract extension year total that they wanted at the trade deadline in 2020, he would have been on that team that went to the finals. I don't know if it still would have gone to the finals, but he was supposed to be part of that bigger deal, along with who came over, Crowder and Iguodala, etc.
And Solomon Hill.
But yeah,
this seems like, and Gallinari, it seems like this is going to be his final. Like this might be it for him in terms of international play and maybe in terms of basketball in general. Because there was a rumor they were rumored to be returning to like Milano, but don't know if that's going to happen. But regardless, like in Italy's group, so you have Cyprus. Cyprus is the host. Cyprus is one of the worst teams in this tournament. Georgia is in this tournament as well. They are. Let me make sure that this person's on the roster before I shout him out. Yeah, Goga Batadze was on the preliminary roster at the very least. I'm not sure if Georgia's actually finalized their roster, but Goga Batadze is the guy to like sort of watch for, along with Mamu, who plays for the Toronto Raptors. But Georgia's not like awesome, but that's not an easy one. Spain, obviously, as mentioned, and Greece has kind of just been for the last year or so, or a little bit longer than that, actually, Giannis plus. Like Giannis has to do a little bit more than you would think because the Greek national team doesn't have a ton of depth right now.
Wow, that sounds like the Bucks, though. He's gonna get used to it. Have you seen that Bucks roster? Have you seen what they've put around him?
Yeah, like
who's the second best player?
Like
Miles Turner?
It's kind of actually it is. It's kind of crazy that with Greece, the second best player is not even in the NBA. Like Giannis is their only NBA player,
right?
And similarly in Olympic qualifying, and they navigated and they got to the Olympics, but in the Olympics they weren't very successful at all. And then in the World Cup, they've had some tough times as well. So we'll see, but Italy, like top to bottom, they're I think the third best team in this group on paper, just because you got to give it to like Spain and Greece. And Greece, like I know it's Giannis plus, but the plus is actually like probably comparable to what Italy has. And Giannis is Giannis, and Italy is nothing like that. Nothing. So you got to give it to Greece there. But Italy should move on. Like other than that, you have Bosnia, Georgia, and Cyprus, and those should be 3 wins for Italy. Should be, but we'll see.
All right, Brian, we appreciate it. We're going to do another episode on his State of the Heat. We'll get to that one another time. We're also going to talk that Jovic extension. His agent, no wonder he loves Spo and Adam Simon right now. Like this is the time you be talking to them. I'd be throwing that extension number way the heck up there. Brian, appreciate it. Check out all of our great sponsors, including Prize Picks. Use the code 5FIVE. Sign up for Off the Floor, and we'll be covering all this stuff. We got nothing to do, so we welcome basketball.
And if anyone is interested, I'll be doing a longer Eurobasket preview on my YouTube channel Monday at 10 p.m. live. It'll be like kind of like you said, Eurobasket for dummies. It'll be like that, but like Eurobasket for like dummies from America, because like there's a lot of people in America who just like, what's going on? What's happening? People in Europe have a handle on it, though.
Brian, I'm going to say this. Well, am I gonna get flamed for this? I'll close with this. Dummies in America is kind of synonymous over the past few years.
Listen. There's a few teams we didn't talk about, and there's one of whom that I'm not sure why they're in this tournament, but we don't.
Who's that?
Do
All right.
Do we want to mention Group D?
No, let's not get into Group D. All right, everybody, have a good one.